Pity for people that are stealing to get a better life? What about people that do it the right way? Why can't you do it the right way? What country doesn't allow that? They're going wild with the radical Muslims and going wild in Europe. It's going to happen here. We're letting it happen. We're actually fomenting it by leaving the conditions open so these type of things can occur. It's crazy. And all of these people with these diseases and also crime, 51, look, the article I said I put on howardneiman.com, 51 cities, 21 of the 51 cities in the world are in Brazil. I mean, it's in South America, and most of them are in South America. How, and you're letting these people come, whoever they are. So all this crime is down there. You don't think they're going to come up this way? These criminals? I can't believe it. The problem is, it's compassion and love to a fault. I mean, it's suicide. And we're allowing this to happen. We're taking political sides on something that is not political. It's something about it's the survival of our country. It's not that, anything other than that. The government is not the country. The country is the people. We, the people. The citizens. We're so overstretched that they are going to destroy this country if we don't turn it around. Stop this whole monetary thing. I mean, look what the IMF is doing. So now they're going to be going from January 28th to February 4th for a fact-finding visit to discuss technical assistance and assessing their financial needs worth about $4 billion. So they're going to be paying them out. And they're expecting slowdowns in major oil-consuming emerging economies like China. And it's also cautioning, this is the IMF, and the World Bank predicted that crude prices would average $37 a barrel and warned of long-term consequences. Oh yeah, you bet. It also issued a caution that both producers and commodity markets are still faced with a significant risk of bigger than expected slowdowns in major oil-consuming emerging economies. Now, the emerging economies are where the globalists really want all the money to go. That's why they're taking it from us. They're giving it to India and China. That's really where it is. They built up Brazil, and now look what they did. They built up Brazil. Now they're smacking it down real quick, like they built up Argentina under the dictators. I mean, this is what happened. This is history, and it's happening again. And we're next. Make no mistake about it. We're next. And it's the same group of people, the same bankers, the same organizations, the same entourage, the same players. And they're all part of this cartel, for lack of a better word, that is working to create world government. By putting everyone in financial disorder intentionally and then creating order out of the chaos with a global system, a new global currency, they'll probably even make it appear like the countries are still countries. They're not going to, but it'll be a new government that operates as it's almost doing now through treaties and other things where now look, remember Gibson? They fined them $2 million for buying wood in Madagascar and producing the guitars here with American labor. Oh, no, that goes against the treaty. It's unbelievable. We're selling ourselves out. We're selling ourselves out to these other countries. And now the liberals are going crazy. They're like, oh, it's China bashing. China bashing? I saw some Chinese lady that was like freaking out. And this is China bashing when Trump is talking about, but they're killing us. Why shouldn't it be? How's it China bashing? How politically correct is that? How many rapes do you have to endure before you say stop? That's why it's like this whole liberalism thing drives me nuts, because there's this whole outcry about a war against women, but shh, don't talk about Sharia law, don't talk about stoning women, don't talk about honor killings, don't talk about any of these things, genitalia mutilation, don't talk about any of this. That's not a war on women. That's because that's offensive to Islam. You can't be offensive to them. You can't hurt anyone's feelings. as you are, as you submit to more and more, irrational tyranny. It's just like Aldous Huxley said. He said that people would rather enjoy their servitude because they sort of like it. They become used to it. It's the kind of a servitude where they love their servitude.
Well, it seems to me that the nature of the ultimate revolution with which we are now faced is precisely this, that we are in process of developing a whole series of techniques which will enable the controlling oligarchy, who have always existed and presumably always will exist, to get people actually to love their servitude. This is, seems to me, the ultimate in malevolent revolution, shall we say. And this is a problem which has interested me for many years, and about which I wrote 30 years ago a fable, The Brave New World, which is essentially the account of a society making use of all the devices at that time available, and some of the devices which I imagined to be possible, making use of them in order to, first of all, to standardize the population, to iron out inconvenient human differences, to create, so to say, mass-produced models of human beings arranged in some kind of a scientific caste system. And since then I have continued to be extremely interested in this problem, and I have noticed with increasing dismay that a number of the predictions which were purely fantastic when I made them 30 years ago have come true or seem in process of coming true, that a number of techniques about which I talked seem to be here already, and that there seems to be a general movement in the direction of this kind of ultimate revolution, this method of control by which people can be made to enjoy a state of affairs which, by any decent standard, they ought not to enjoy. The enjoyment of servitude.
The following excerpt is from Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. The document, dated May 1979, was found on July 7, 1986, in an IBM copier that had been purchased at a surplus sale and published in Behold a Pale Horse by William Cooper in 1991. Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars is the doctrine adopted by the Policy Committee of the Bilderberg Group during its first known meeting in 1954. A copy found in 1969 was in possession of Naval Intelligence.
An Introductory Programming Manual Operations Research. This publication marks the 25th anniversary of the Third World War, called the Quiet War, being conducted using subjective biological warfare, fought with silent weapons. Silent weapons technology has evolved from operations research, a strategic and tactical methodology developed under the military management in England during World War II. The original purpose of operations research was to study the strategic and tactical problems of air and land defense with the objective of effective use of limited military resources against foreign enemies. It was soon recognized by those in positions of power, CFR, that the same methods might be useful for totally controlling a society. But better tools were necessary. Social engineering, the analysis and automation of a society, requires the correlation of great amounts of constantly changing economic information, data, so a high-speed computerized data processing system was necessary which could race ahead of the society and predict when society would arrive for capitulation. Relay computers were too slow, but the electronic computer, invented in 1946 by Presper Eckert and John Mackey, filled the bill. The next breakthrough was the development of the simplex method of linear programming in 1947 by the mathematician George B. Dantzig. Then in 1948, the transistor, invented by Bardeen, Brattain, and Shockley, promised great expansion of the computer field by reducing space and power requirements. With these three inventors under their direction, those in position of power strongly suspected that it was possible for them to control the whole world with the push of a button. Immediately, the Rockefeller Foundation got in on the ground floor by making a 4-year grant Harvard College, funding the Harvard Economic Research Project for the study of the structure of the American economy. 1 year later, in 1949, the United States Air Force joined in. In 1952 original grand period terminated, and a high-level meeting of the elite was held to determine the next phase of social operations research. The Harvard Project had been very fruitful, as is borne out by the publication of the sum of its results in 1953 suggesting the feasibility of economic, social, engineering, studies in the structure of the American economy, copyright 1953 by Vasilio Leontief, International Sciences Press Incorporated, White Plains, New York. The Quiet War was quietly declared by the international elite, the Bilderberg Group, at a meeting held in 1954. Although the silent weapon system was nearly exposed 13 years later, the evolution of the new weapon system has never suffered any major setbacks. All science is merely a means to an end. The means is knowledge. The end is control. Beyond this remains only one issue: who will be the beneficiary? In 1954 this was the issue of primary concern. Although the so-called moral issues were raised, in view of the law of natural selection it was agreed that a nation or world of people who will not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. Such people are beasts of burden and stakes on the table by choice and consent. In order to achieve a totally predictable economy, the low-class elements of the society must be brought under total control, that is, must be housebroken, and assigned a yoke and long-term social duties from a very early age, before they have an opportunity to question the propriety of the matter. In order to achieve such conformity, the lower-class family unit must be disintegrated by a process of increasing preoccupation of the parents and the establishment of government-operated day-care centers for the occupationally orphaned children. The quality of education given to the lower class must be of the poorest sort, so that the mode of ignorance isolating the inferior class from superior class is and remains incomprehensible to the inferior class. This form of slavery is essential to maintaining some measure of social order, peace, and tranquility for the ruling upper class. Descriptive introduction of the silent weapon: it shot situations, instead of bullets, propelled by data processing, instead of a chemical reaction, originating from bits of data, instead of grains of gunpowder, from a computer, instead of a gun, operated by a computer programmer, instead of a marksman, under the orders of a banking magnate, instead of a military general. It makes no obvious explosive noises, causes no obvious physical or mental injuries, and doesn't obviously interfere with anyone's daily social life. Yet it makes an unmistakable noise, causes unmistakable physical and mental damage, and unmistakably interferes with daily social life, that is, unmistakable to a trained observer, one who knows what to look for. The public cannot comprehend this weapon, and therefore cannot believe that they are being attacked and subdued by a weapon. The public might instinctively feel that something is wrong, but because of the technical nature of the silent weapon, they cannot express their feelings in a rational way, or handle the problem with intelligence. Therefore, they don't know how to cry for help, and do not know how to associate with others to defend themselves against it. When a silent weapon is applied gradually, the public adapts to its presence and learns to tolerate its encroachment on their lives until the pressure becomes too great and they cracked up. Therefore, the silent weapon is a type of biological warfare,